Jared Polin, FronosPhoto.com, and welcome to a 30 for 30 Lightroom head-to-head raw edit. I've got Adam here right now, but if you want to play along at home, go to FronosPhoto.com/LR3030. Not only can you download this raw file that we're about to edit, but you can get a free trial of Lightroom so you can play along with us. Adam, you ready to get going?
Let's do it.
All right, let's see what we have this time, and we have, oh, it's a girl with lots of makeup. All right, so here I am just giving it a once over, zooming in. Ooh, that's nice and sharp. Oh, no wonder why. Taken with a Hasselblad H5D 40. Wow, look at the details. I'm looking at the skin. I'm trying to see if that's something I can clean up or not, but what I'm gonna do is do my first overall edit like I normally would do with my files. There, done. Perfect. Just kidding. I probably wouldn't do that. But that is interesting. This is one way you can clean up the face, by the way. You can totally blow it out and not even have to worry. You can make it totally fine art, because this is super fine art. Yeah, let's do this. Let's go fine art with it and just see what we can have here. I'm going to change my curves to strong. Go like this. And that's the thing with these type of images. Fine art. You can do whatever you want. You never know. And that's why when you get the raw file at home, you can do anything you want to see. There's so many different tweaks you could make. So I'm gonna stick with the black and white this time. I'm gonna do this. And now I'm just gonna motor through this and power and see what we do. I personally don't try to worry about the skin too much. I know some people are gonna go in and wanna do the skin softening. I don't do that. I'm more of a photojournalist type where I wanna edit and I wanna move on. That's my style. There's no right or wrong to either one, but let's see. Did you know that when you change your temperature in black and white, it actually makes changes to your image? Yep, you can see that happening right there. Highlights, can go either way with the highlights, doesn't really matter that much. Black levels, you could go crispy as crispy can be, but I don't want to go crispy as crispy can be right now. I know I look intently in on my files as I do this. What would the color look like real quick? Wow. It's crazy. I'm actually going to go back to the black and white real quick. Oh, don't want to go to the library. I want to do this. I want to go ahead and take a snapshot just so I can come back to this. And I want to go back to the color. And you see how I'm adjusting the tint to get it more towards what I think the color should be, especially with a gray-blue background. Oh, here's something cool. If you have that gray-blue background, you could play with that. We're playing with the luminance right here with that. You also have your saturation where you could pull down the blue saturation, you know, because it looks blue, but I want to make it more gray. Look at that. I'm pulling down the blue and it's not affecting the rest of the image because there's no other blue in there unless it's affecting her eyes. Let's see. Nope, not affecting her eyes very much at all. So I could totally do that and have that gray background, but still have her be color. And this is one of those edits that may take a little bit more time because there's so much going on in it. So much. Would I want to crop it? I want to do shadows. Not going to do too much. Oh, wow, that actually doesn't suck. Look, if you overdo the saturation, you could find yourself in trouble. Go ahead, hit 0 on that. Could also, you click on this thing, double click on that, and it will reset it as well. Let's see. Let's see what a vertical would be like. I like to maintain my aspect ratio. Let's see if losing the shoulders kills it. But don't forget, this is from a Hasselblad, so you probably have a ton of megapixels to work with. Show me what you're working with. Yeah, I'm just gonna do this. Oh, okay, I need to recorrect that because look, I left this little bit of thing down there. That's distracting me. I'm gonna make that change right now. You have to look out for these things when you're editing. But I also want to touch the shoulder. Not like physically, maybe I'll just come up a little higher. I am really ultra cropping this because I want this to be a headshot. Nope, don't like that one. Gonna go back. I'm gonna go ahead and edit that again. I just want to get the head in the right place. All right, I'm gonna go with that for this, and I'll probably do something different for the black and white, but oh my God, is this file absolutely insane. Look how many megapixels we have. We have so much to work with that you can get away with the cropping for that if that's what you want to do. All right, I wanted to go somewhere else. You have these flyaways here. You may be able to get rid of those right here. And I'm just scrolling my finger up and down just to make the brush larger or smaller, and I can just paint right here. And it's gonna go over to the, let's see. Yeah, you can sort of get rid of it, but this is more something that I would do in Photoshop if I wanted to go in there. You can jump over there, you can round trip it if you really want. You have the ability to do that. I'm not gonna do that for this, but if I was taking more time, I probably would. I wanna do another once over with the color, and then I'm gonna get into the black and white back again. I think I wanna accentuate some of that purple. So here I am with my saturation of the purple. Yeah, I like what's going on there. And then I'm going to, let's see what we can do with saturation without going too far. Boom. And then I'm going to go with the yellow. And yeah, I'm making sure I'm going pretty quick on this. I know you guys can spend more time at home with it. Let me go ahead and hit save this one as color. Now this is just a snapshot. I'm going to go back to the black and white, and that's the full one, so I'll leave it full image. And this is the fun thing about raw edits, is there's so many different things you can do, and you could always go down here and hit the reset button and go back to the very beginning, but I don't want to do that. I'm just going to leave it with the black and white. I'm going to go boomify. I'm not going to worry about touching up the face. I hit the wrong button because I'm not out of that, but I'm not going to touch up the face. I'm not going to smooth it out. I'm going to leave it as it is because people, this is how people are. That's how I edit. It doesn't mean you have to follow along with that, and it doesn't mean that Adam's edit's not going to go in and smooth out the face. But I'm going to leave it at these two. I've got the one color, super cropped, just showing different things that we can do, and we got the black and white right here, just leaving it almost original, but just punching up the colors a little bit, and that's where I'm going to leave this one, and I can't wait to see what Adam did with his file.
All right, here we go. Ah, very cool. So just off the bat, I'm looking at this image. It's a really cool portrait, and there's definitely going to be some work done on the skin. I don't care who you are, most people do not have perfect skin, and especially when you're shooting with a really high resolution camera and you know, every little detail is going to show on there. I'm probably going to go color with this. I may even do a black and white. So let's just pop in there. Very first thing I notice off the bat is the white balance is totally off. So I'm gonna, you know what, let's try with the picker. Let's see what the picker does for us. I'm gonna hit the W, and it says pick a neutral target. Maybe I can get into like a gray area on her shoulder there. You know, already, that just looks a lot better. And in fact, it's 5500, which is about, you know, a daylight balance. I'm just gonna stick with that, and that's gonna be a starting point for this. All right, let's just get into doing some exposure settings here. So the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just add a little bit of contrast here because I want some depth to this. I want to give it some kind of excitement and just make it a little bit more dramatic. Okay, so as you see, it's getting a little bit darker. So I'm going to have to open that up. Maybe we'll grab some shadows, but I don't want to go too crazy with the shadows because I kind of like the natural vignetting that we have here. Let's try what happens if we like reduce our blacks like that. Yep, we're going to go a little bit deeper like that. And I'm just going to pop up the exposure a little bit now because I want the skin tones to really shine. I mean, that's really what's important to me. And let's just see what happens with clarity. The thing I worry about with clarity, let's just look at what this was shot at. Okay, this is at f4.8, oh, HC. Okay, so this was shot with the Hasselblad. So this is going to have a lot of detail in it. So let's just pop open in there. Yeah, there's a lot of detail in there. So if I add clarity, it's going to really, I don't want it to look too crazy. I don't want her skin to look muddled. But we're going to do something like that, and let's just see what the highlights are doing. Okay, we can go crazy with the highlights. I mean, this image has just a ton of dynamic range. So I'm going to do something like that. What I might do actually is I might just keep upping my exposure, and then I will add, I'm just going to add some vignetting. So I'm just going to bring it down like this. Oh yeah, I like the way that looks a lot. And maybe I'll just close in the midpoint because I really just want to focus on her face, change the roundness, really tighten it up, make it a little bit more oval shaped, and then feather it in real nice like that. That looks a lot better. Okay. The other thing that I'm thinking about this image is that I feel like there's a lot of negative space over here. So I think I'm going to just crop it in a little bit. So I'm going to hit the R key, and I'm going to pull this down in the center, and I think I might just move her a little bit over to the side. Yeah, that's looking a little bit better to me. I'm just going to play with that until it's all visual, just kind of eyeing it out. Let's just leave that like that. Okay, that looks cool. One thing I also notice is that in the background here, there's a couple of dust spots. There's one over here, there's one over here. So let me just get rid of those. So I'm going to hit the Q key, and I'm going to turn feathering off. I've got opacity at 100, so that means that I'm not going to be able to blend in the edges of my cloning tool. And I'm going to zoom in on the area that I want. So I'm just going to take my little navigator and I'm going to go back and find that. And there's my dust spot there. I'm just going to pop that on there. Boom. And then I can use the H key to hide that if I want to see what that did. And that looks like that's satisfactory, particularly when we zoom out. So I zoom out and I'm going to find another one. Oh yeah, this region over here has a lot. Okay, so I'm going to escape that. I'm going to actually close that. I'm just going to click on this area here. Actually undo that because I wanted this to be closed. I'm going to click on this area here, zoom in on my area first, and I'll hit the Q key, and I'll pop on that. And let me just use the H key, because I like to see where it goes. I like to see where the selector chooses, because sometimes it'll jump all the way across screen, and we don't want that. All right, I'm going to leave that like that. And yeah, there might be another one right over here. So let me just get rid of that. Just pop over here. I mean, look, this maintenance stuff, it's kind of like, it's not probably that much fun to watch. But I really do believe that cleaning up your images is super important. I'm not really seeing much over there, so I'm not gonna be too bothered with it. Okay, so what I'd like to do now is I'd like to do something to smooth out her skin, because I feel like, it's got a lot of texture to it, even though the makeup's really cool. I want to kind of give it a little bit more of a glow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the K key, and that's going to get me into the adjustment brush module or pane. And I'm just going to basically create a skin softening tool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce clarity, and I'm going to, let's say, I'm going to just pop up the sharpness. You guys will see what happens in a minute. And I'm going to bring up the exposure just like a little bit over there. And let's just try that for now. So I'm going to zoom in on her face. I'm going to bring my navigator over there. Let's just see what this looks like, okay? So I'm just going to make this a little bit bigger. Also, I've got my brush. I've got the feathering on over here. I don't think I want it 100%. I'm just going to bring that down, keep the flow where it is, and let's just see how that does. And already you can see what's going on here. Now, what I often will do also is I'll just take the O key, and that'll show me where the overlay is, and I will just paint over to know exactly where my brush is going to affect the areas. Again, this is another one of those long, tedious processes, but there is some exactitude here, because you want to, I don't want to reduce any of the contrast or the sharpness on her eyebrows per se, because I like those to be nice and sharp, but I want to make sure that her skin is being adjusted properly. So even though I've made those pre-adjustments on my brush tool, I'm probably going to go back in there and change it once I release the tool here, or release the overlay, and I can really get a good sense of what's going on. Now you can see I'm really kind of grabbing her whole face, because I really think that I need to smooth this out quite a bit. So just bear with me while I do this. Actually, I just painted over her lips. Let me just undo that. So I'm just holding down the Option key so I can kind of erase what I've done. And I'm just going to keep moving along on here and give her a little bit of a chemical peel kind of a look. Although that's, just not really what we want, but you get the idea, guys. That I'm just trying to cover as much area as possible. Let me grab the navigator, and I'm really trying to be very specific, because as you see, I don't want to, paint over her lips. I don't want to paint over her eyes. I don't want to paint over her eyelashes. I don't want to paint over her ear. All right, so we're getting there. And there we go. Wow, what a process. Okay, so I'm going to zoom out there, and I'm going to hit the O key, and now we can see what's happened. So let's just reset this effect. Okay, boom. So what I want to do is I want to reduce some clarity here. Just pull that down just a little bit. I want to add some sharpness to that as well. And now what I want to do is I want to add a little bit of exposure. And that absolutely is making a huge difference, but I don't want to go too crazy with that. Let me see what my whites are doing. Add a little bit of whites to that, something like that. Add a little bit of highlights. All right, I'm going to reduce a little bit more clarity. Add a little more sharpness. And let's just pop in and let's just look at how this is affecting her face. All right, reducing clarity. Somewhere, actually we've got the clarity kind of off. Somewhere around there. And the sharpness, I just want to see how that does. It kind of helps to offset the reduction in clarity, although I don't want it to look too muddled. Something like that. And I'm just going to zoom out. And that's pretty good. I mean, it's a little artificial looking because we've got this line here, so I kind of have to do some blending. So let me just come in here, and I'm just going to paint over that. So you can use my brush. Still want to maintain the edge detail of her chin. It's going to look a little crazy here. Let me look at use the overlay key so I can see what I'm doing. So I don't want to go too far. You guys can see how I'm just kind of erasing the edge right here. Boom. Hit the O key again. That's kind of interesting. Now, if I want to kind of preview and see what that did or what that didn't do, I can kind of just turn it on and off there. Yeah, I mean, look, if I had all the time in the world, I would probably take this thing into Photoshop and I would really, really go in there and I'd create a whole bunch of different layers and masks and I would just clean it up a lot more carefully, and I'd probably go after all of these like little problem spots in here. But you guys get the idea about the power that we have with the brush tool right here. All right, let me just get out of the brush tool, hitting the K key over there. And yeah, let me just give a final look at everything over here. Yeah, like even stuff like this, you know, I'd probably go in there, I'd get that out, I'd probably fix that line. You know, maybe just, you know, I'll just use the healing tool here and just get rid of maybe some of these blemishes. Boom, 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 boom. Again, another one of these processes that's just, you know, it's a lot of cleanup, but you just do it methodically, you do it slowly, you know, you just see what you've done, and the end result is really cool. All right, boom, boom. Again, I could go crazy with this thing here. So you guys, look, you guys get the idea that we could absolutely go in there and clean this thing up like crazy. But what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to leave my color edit right there. I think that that's going to be my color edit. And I just want to see, just for the sake of it, what a black and white is going to look like. So I'm just going to make a quick snapshot. Boom. And I'm going to hit the V key for, oh yeah, black and white's not too shabby, guys. I really like that. So let me just throw down my blacks. I'm using the Option key to see where my areas are getting underexposed. And I'm going to pop up some contrast. Oh yeah, that's very cool. I'm just give it a little more exposure. So now we're losing a little bit of that luminance on her face. Something like that. That's very cool. Yeah, I almost feel like the effect that I did on her face is a little bit artificial looking. So what I can do in this one is I can just click on that pin right there and I can just edit that down a little bit. So I can just maybe just give it a little bit less of the clarity reduction, a little bit less of the sharpness, and maybe bring my brightness down just a little bit like that. And let's just zoom in there. Yeah, look, there's still plenty of texture in there, but that's actually very, very cool. So, you know what? I think I've said enough. Actually, let me just try the point curve, make that a medium contrast. I don't know, guys. That's kind of cool. All right, there we go. So that's going to be my black and white edit. I'm going to just name that my black and white. And we've got the color. Actually, I got to change that color. Sorry, guys. Face is just a little bit too crazy looking for me. Boom, just grab that. Got to have a little bit more texture in there. And sharpness, let's bring that down a little bit. Okay. I'm going to make a new, I'll call this color 2. Boom. That's going to be it. All right. So there we have it. We've got our color, and we've got our black and white, and I'm going to leave it at that.
So we've both done our edits. Adam's done his. I've done mine. It's time for the reveal.
Let's do it.
Let's see what you did. You ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1, go.
Whoa.
All right. Crappie
Wow.
McCropperson. right off the rip, I can tell you the worst one here is my color one.
You know, I don't mind your color one, actually. I really kind of like it. It has a very editorial look about it. It's very cool.
I like your far one, the far one on the right. This one is, I like the color. It's subtle.
Yeah.
It's not super over the top. Did you spend time also on the face?
I did. I tried to smooth out a little bit of the skin. I really like your black and white. I like the way you kind of did like a reverse vignette. You know, you really.
Oh yeah, I did that on purpose. I was like, I'm gonna come in here. I'm gonna do a reverse vignette. It's gonna look super awesome.
Yeah, I mean, you
didn't
gave
do
it like that real kind of full frontal flash. There's something really cool about it.
Well, tell me about this file. How many megapixels is this?
I don't know. I think at least 40.
Because I even in my crop, there was so much data there. I was like, I'm cropping this a ton vertically.
Yeah, that camera produces a real hefty file.
So yeah, I mean, I'm looking at your black and white. You got the background going much different than mine. I mean, I went for more of an extreme. I'm like, this is fine art. I'm gonna just go balls to the wall.
Yeah, and I really love what you did. I think it's really interesting, and I think it's something totally different. I don't know if I would have gone there, and I really do like your color. I like the crop. I like everything about it.
You do? You like the crop?
I really do.
Now that I look at it, it's way too overexposed. See, this is the thing. This is what happens when you get all of these images in front of you. It's like, whoa, you know? Whoa. You can see all the different things going on.
I wouldn't mind looking at them full screen. I'm just going to go through. Yeah,
well, I like your black and white just from looking at it. The color's cool. To me, it's a little too. It looks underexposed.
It does. It does now in comparison. But if you scroll, like when I finished doing this, I realized that I liked my black and white a lot more, and that's the one I would have gone with if I had to pick one. But if you looked at where the file started to where that color was, it was a pretty huge difference.
And I think I can show that over here. Can I show that over here? Nope, can't show that over here. But this is one of those things, like, I got done editing, and I was like, oh, I wish I did something different.
Yeah.
But that's the thing about RAW files,
Yeah.
or editing in general. It's not normal that you guys at home are going to be sitting like we're sitting, trying to educate and edit at the same time.
Sure.
And that's why we give you the RAW files. Nice job, Adam.
Yeah, nice job,
on
too.
that. So that's why you can download this DNG file over at froknosphoto.com/LR3030. You can also get a free trial of Lightroom while you are there so that you can play with all of the 30 for 30 files and see how you would have edited. Because that's the great thing about editing in Lightroom, and that is where we're going to leave it. Jared Polin, froknosphoto.com. See ya.